Have you ever walked out of a salon with more than just a new hairstyle? Maybe a little extra frustration, annoyance, or even anger because your stylist just didn't seem to care. We've all been there, and it's time to change that narrative. Welcome to Hear What I'm Saying, the podcast where I will unravel the tangled strands of miscommunication and unprofessionalism between hairstylists and their clients. I'm your host, Kinetra, and I've spent years in the salon industry, both behind the chair and in the client's seat. In this episode, we'll dive deep into the world of hair care, exploring the stories, struggles, and successes from both sides of the salon chair. My mission: to create a space where stylists and clients can come together, understand each other's perspectives, and ultimately achieve hair harmony. Join me as we unravel the knots of misunderstanding, one strand at a time. Today, we have a special guest joining us, someone who's here to share her own unique experience behind and beyond the chair with unprofessional hairstylists and how she navigates through these unfortunate situations to make sure she chooses the hairstylist that aligns with her goals and professional expectations. Hi, Sapphire. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. How are you?
I'm doing well, girl. We're delighted to have you on the show today. Your experiences and perspectives are incredibly valuable, and we're eager to hear your story.
Yes, girl. I'm ready to spill all the tea.
Ooh.
It's going to get hot.
So before we let this tea start boiling over the pot, honey, let's just dive deep into it. So, Sapphire, give me your 3 top examples of an unprofessional hairstylist.
I'll give you 3, but I have about 30. Okay? It's a lot.
That's not funny.
So the first one is so traumatic. The first one is feeling like a burden or a chore to them.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, them not holding themselves to the same standard.
Okay.
Heavy on that. And then number 3, those 360 deals.
360 deals. Now, the first 2 I'm very aware of, but the 360 deals, okay, we definitely coming back to number 3 for sure. Let's start with number 1, feeling like a burden or a chore. What do you mean by that? Like, elaborate more on feeling that way whenever you see a stylist.
How they communicate with me, especially during the service or when I come in, the greeting just seems off.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Sit right there. Sit in the chair. I feel talked at. And not that I'm there having a, conversation with them or that we're here having an even exchange.
Okay.
That's I hate it.
So like literally you walk into the salon, there's no, good afternoon, how are you?
No.
So so you walk in the salon, are you immediately greeted?
No.
At all, or?
It's a sit down right there, sit over there.
So that's what you're immediately greeted with?
Yes.
Do you wait any time in between this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of the time they are late.
Okay. All right.
And then when I get in the chair now, because of my texture, like I have very dense hair.
Yes.
It can be perceived as it being really thick or a lot.
Okay.
It's the puffing and puffing and just, it feels like they don't want me there, but they're there because of the money.
That's how you feel.
That's how I feel.
Uh-huh.
And it's just not a pleasurable experience. And a lot of times I'm like, I'm paying all of this money, my hard-earned money, leaving feeling like crap. Hair looks good, but if the hair and the attitude don't match, what did I just do for all those hours?
Okay, so have you ever, been in a situation where you were actually excited and looking forward to your hair appointment only to be let down because you felt like a burden or a chore? Or do you walk in feeling like, filled with anxiety of not knowing the unexpected once you walk in?
Honestly speaking, the anxiety is always there.
Can you tell me why?
Just based on my personal experiences, what I've seen on social media, it's just been hard, especially as somebody that's a natural. Everything is just constantly changing. Products are geared toward different types. You can have one type, but low porosity, high porosity. It's just so much. So when I rely on a professional now and I come there feeling like I'm a burden to you, that to me takes a jab at my vulnerability. And then I'm like, it's supposed to be a safe space. And I'm investing in this safe space to leave feeling like crap again.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just hard. And then because of where I live now in Texas, there's not many people geared toward natural hair.
Yes.
That makes it even harder.
So before you saw the content on social media where clients are sharing their experiences, unfortunate and unprofessional experiences behind the chair with these unprofessional stylists, did you have the same anxiety before?
It was even worse.
Why?
Because I thought that it was just me.
Oh, based on your personal experience.
Yes.
You didn't know it was like a
common thing.
A nationwide.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I guess it just feels a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
to hear other people have the same experiences,
Mm-hmm.
even though we shouldn't.
Right.
But when I didn't know that, I was like, it's just me out here feeling like this.
And that's why you felt like it was a you thing.
Yes. And I kept going or kept trying.
Uh-huh.
When you feel like it's just you, that's the problem. You kind of tend to ignore that voice in your head saying it's wrong, and you blame yourself.
Have you ever, since you feel like a burden or a chore, have you ever apologized to a hairstylist just to switch the mood and get the aura in a better space?
Yes. Either apologize or just silence. It'll be so much going on in my head, and I'm like, I don't want to say this and upset her even more. Or she is in my hair, which is very sacred to me. I don't want to tick her off and she does something unthinkable. So I'll just shut up for the appointment and just never return.
So what about, you said you have apologized. Like, what happened in that moment where it's like, well, maybe I should apologize, or it's my responsibility to switch the mood and the energy and the flow in the salon right now, because the tension is obviously there. Even though you really don't know exactly what it is, like, what did you do to switch the aura? And did it work when you switched the aura?
It never works. But I think the apologizing for something that I shouldn't apologize for comes from is because of oftentimes how our hair is perceived by the world. We're having to apologize for having our hair the way that it is, apologizing for who we are as Black people. So I think it stems from that. Me just feeling like, here I go having to apologize again for being who I am, just to make them feel comfortable while I feel not so comfortable. And
from someone who's supposed to have...
and looks like me.
That looks like you.
The worst.
That information you just shared was so deep.
Yeah.
Because I was not expecting that. I was more expecting, I just want the experience to be in a good space. And since I've had these situations to happen multiple times with multiple different hairstylists, so I must be the problem. So I'm going to apologize on behalf of that. And I know I have a lot of hair, so I feel bad for having a lot of hair.
Yes. And I struggle with my own personal thing where I'm very indecisive. I never know what I want.
Okay.
Because my hair has so much going on. So for me, when I go to a stylist, I'm looking for you to have that creative control, or me trusting you.
Yes.
So I want to trust you, and I will put any money behind that.
Yes.
So when I come to you and I don't feel I can trust you, and I feel like a burden,
like the value just goes down.
It goes
service,
down,
right?
And then I'm like walked away feeling worse. And then that's where it reverts to where I got the texturizer when I was younger, or having to get braids. I want to be a natural and be happy and carefree, but I need help, and I shouldn't be afraid to say that.
Also, not feel like a burden.
Yeah.
Because it's something that naturally and organically spirals out of your scalp, Unfortunately, it's just it's really hurtful to receive it from people with the same background. Someone who looks like you. Like, the struggle. You understand psychologically and emotionally what the struggle is.
Exactly.
And then I come here and you exchange this energy with me as if this is like some type of favor and not a service,
Right. And as most curl specialists that I've met are Black women, you yourself should know that when it comes to the Black hair, we need community. Like growing up, one person will help you wash it, one person will braid it. Like, we help each other. Natural hair is beautiful, but it takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
a lot of effort, and it's very mentally draining, to be very honest with you.
It sure is.
It's nothing like, because for me, I do hair content.
Yes.
I can make it look like wash day was amazing. Whole time it tore me up.
Yeah.
I was in there crying. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that too is back to what I was saying before, where on the internet, when I first started off, it looked so like, wow, wash day was so easy for that girl. What's wrong with me?
And it's not flowing cohesively for
Right.
you. Yep. Not knowing, like, honey, she done edited that thing. She took a whole 10-hour day into 1 hour. I mean, into not 1 hour, I'm sorry, but into a 1-minute clip.
15 seconds to be exact.
Yeah, because back then, Instagram, you couldn't even record beyond 15 seconds. So that's very true. Okay, let's back it up, because we did discuss how you were greeted at the salon feeling like a burden and a chore already initially, but we didn't elaborate a little bit more about how the aura of the service is. So, give us an example of what you have experienced behind that chair when the aura was off.
The huffer puffers, man.
Girl, wait a minute.
Puffing and huffing and puffing.
What
Like,
are
I can hear
huffer
you,
puffers?
girl, and I feel as though they do it on purpose. And sometimes too, the huffing and puffing, then they'll use the fine tooth combs and comb out my hair. Are you crazy?
Fine tooth comb.
Fine tooth comb. And you know that's the wrong comb, girl. Miss Specialist.
So you feel like they are using a fine tooth comb because of, elaborate more on that. What do you mean?
I honestly feel like to be petty. Because to me, I come detangled. It may not be to the stylist's standard. Because to me, I know my hair gets frizzy up or curls up very easily. So
like it reverts?
Yeah. So I have to like come with plaits. I don't do it on purpose. I promise you I don't. But that to me is how I can keep my hair a certain way to
keep
then be in
stretched,
your
right?
chair. So when you're using a fine tooth comb, what are you doing? I've never done that.
Do you think they're using it on purpose because they don't want to do your hair? Or do you feel like they just probably don't know what they're doing?
They're mad at doing my hair. They know what they're doing.
Okay.
Because I definitely go to their Instagram pages or their TikToks. I do my research. And you've had hair prior to mine the same way. And it looked good. So I come in your chair now and you don't know what you're doing.
So you've seen content of this stylist properly detangling hair.
Correct.
And then you come and then they're using a completely different comb that's going to ruin the integrity of your hair.
Not really like seeing the detangle process, but seeing them do girls that have natural curly hair. Like,
but do you know that what tool they use to detangle?
I don't know the tool, but from just the energy, Kinetra, it feels real personal.
Okay.
It feels real personal.
The energy is dry snitching.
Yes. Like, I'm sorry. And it makes me feel so bad because I already feel bad at home. It's a lot for me at home.
Yes.
That's why I'm paying you the money. So imagine coming feeling bad and you're like, girl, this girl in his hair, and you pulling it and dragging it.
Do you ever advocate for yourself whenever they are, using the wrong instruments or tools on your hair during the process? Have you ever advocated for yourself?
To be really honest with you, the little girl in me that was told beauty is pain, that's what I tell myself.
But in that moment that's the wrong tool. So
yeah,
that's
but I'm
not
like,
necessarily associated with pain. You're using the wrong tool to detangle my hair.
But I really have this fear of not speaking up because I'm like, I don't want to trigger them. They already have an attitude. It's only going to get worse. And then with it being an appointment culture, what am I going to do? Say, oh, I don't want this anymore and walk away, and then what? My hair is halfway done?
That's exactly what you do. That's exactly what you do. Because I can't speak for all the Black people or anyone per se in self-avocation situations, but we do have to get to a place where we are advocating for ourselves. And the reason why we don't do that, it just kind of stems from childhood where you're seen and not heard.
That is true.
So you're uncomfortable in the moment, right?
Yes.
So in that moment, I'm not saying this is going to be this tick for tack thing, but it's like, I'm uncomfortable. If I'm advocating for myself and it's making you uncomfortable, then you're not the stylist for me. Because the only thing I'm suggesting is you just use the instrument that I know that works for my hair. And if you are a natural hairstylist or a hairstylist in general, detangling should not be done with a fine tooth comb if you know what you're doing. And if you're doing if you're detangling someone's hair with a fine-tooth comb because you're frustrated and you don't want to do your job, it's okay to also, branch out into other parts of our industry where you are happier instead of compromising the integrity of a client's hair because you don't feel like doing it. And so that leads me into asking you, it seems like this is a sight unseen situation where y'all did not consult before the appointment. Am I right or am I wrong?
Correct.
Okay. So because I'm like, you already know if we consulted, you already know what I'm coming with. So there's no point in the attitude, period. Let's just put it out there. There's no point in attitude, period. But if you are a stylist where you are trying to make sure your schedule stays on schedule and someone walks in and you know it's going to take longer than the service that they schedule for, because they do have a lot of hair, if you're going to get upset, you need to consult. If you are a stylist who don't like the unexpected, because at the end of the day, no one out here should be feeling like a burden or a chore because God graced and blessed you with all this head full of hair,
Yeah.
So consulting I feel as though, especially for any new client, if they are not booking something as simple as a silk press, a twist out, you probably need to be consulting because I know you are a color treated client. There's no way someone should just do color blindfolded, blindsided. Because, man, color is so unpredictable and it can take hours to do. And you will end up running over on your next appointment. Or if you had plans for the evening and this client comes in completely unprepared because you didn't consult.
And now you're rushing me.
Then whose fault really is it?
Not mine.
Because the client don't know like, oh, I should probably consult. That's our job as professionals to insert that also as a service prior to seeing a client we never seen before. And that can eliminate a lot of that energy where you're feeling like a burden or a chore. There are a lot of ways to eliminate the energy, but you can start with consulting. If you're having a bad day, make sure you are spacing out your appointments so that you have time to recharge, you have time to regroup, and
not
get
be
your
hangry.
aura,
and not be hangry.
And hangry, girl, and get your aura back in check so that you can provide the quality of service that these clients are expecting and booking. No one should come to the salon. Unfortunately for you, you've never had the experience to come excited. I have had the experience multiple times to arrive to my hair appointment excited and expecting a certain level of service and leaving, with decent service. I'm not going to say every service was great, whether it was styling and capabilities or it was just mediocre, but I have had phenomenal experiences where I felt like, whoo, that was hair therapy for me,
We love that and we need that.
And it's unfortunate that you've had the complete opposite.
I'm happy that you mentioned the consultation process. Because while I'm sitting here with you, I realized that it's not only for the stylist, but for me as well.
Absolutely. It's for both of y'all.
Right. I was always thinking it's for them. Why they want to meet me before wasting my time? Whole time is for you and me.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing.
A lot of the times too, you will find out if they're your fit. Because if you're trying to look for compatibility beyond booking a look, the aura is going to dry snitch on them right then and there because you can't fake the funk if you have a bad attitude. So it's like, I'm glad I had the consultation so I wouldn't waste my time, waste my money, and now I can go find my fit. It's not also just about, sitting down and getting a hair assessment. It's about our vibes need to kind of align and match as well. Okay, so let's move on to your second point, which was basically accountability, like hairstylists setting these certain standards, but not upholding themselves to the same standards as they do for the client. What do you mean by that? Can you elaborate more on that situation?
Yeah. For them saying that you have to be on time, charging you for when you're late. If you're late between a certain time or don't tell them, they're going to charge you a certain price. But then when they're late, I don't get any compensation for that. Or an apology, at least. Bare minimum, an apology. It's just like, well, I'm here, I booked, and you got your deposit, and that's all you care about.
So have you ever had that experience personally, or you do see it trending a lot on social media, or what is that?
I've had it before where I've came to an appointment on time and she didn't start me until like 30 minutes later. I didn't get an apology or compensation.
What did she say?
Nothing.
Whenever it was time for you to get your hair done, what did she say?
Come in the chair now. It wasn't no apology or anything. So what I did was I just didn't tip her and didn't go back.
Yeah. And you shouldn't go back. You know, if you don't feel like you're being valued, then don't go back.
Right. That's true.
Know? Okay. When you don't go back, do you ever figure out a way to let that stylist know your experience with her or him, you know?
No, because I feel like oftentimes it's never received well. And for me, if you can't even come into the appointment with good energy, imagine when I come to you about something that I didn't like. I'm going to assume it'll be even worse or the same attitude you had when I met you. So I don't waste my time. The money was already spent. I can't get it back. I can only control who I meet up with next time to do my hair.
So when you say based on the aura, there's like literally no point. I've been a client, you know, and this has nothing to do with hair. It was like a nail appointment. And she was running behind and she didn't let me know that she was running behind. And she also wasn't answering the phone because I didn't know exactly where her location was. And she was running, she told me when I got there, an hour behind. And I was just like, I can't wait an hour. So I left.
You told her that?
Yeah, I didn't say it like that. I was like, unfortunately, I don't have an hour to spare to wait because I don't know how long the appointment's going to take. So I would have to cancel. And I did not get my deposit back because I canceled because she was still committed to the appointment. However, she didn't stay committed to the timeline. And see, for me as a professional, when I don't stay committed to the timeline, I will refund you because I didn't stay committed to the timeline. But I did follow up with her to let her know how much I did not appreciate her at least not communicating with me to let me know that she was running an hour behind. That way I could have, you know, rescheduled some things that I had planned after my nail appointment so that the appointment could have stayed on schedule, you know. And she didn't receive it well, and I didn't care.
How did she respond?
It was just basically like, thanks for your unsolicited advice. Wow. I don't really care. And I just let her know, well, actually, it's not unsolicited because I am a beauty professional, honey.
Right.
It's not unsolicited.
That's disrespectful.
Right. But I don't care because the only thing I'm going to do is let you know, see what you said, and I'm out. But I'm not going to let you continue to run your business like that. And I'm just not going to do that. You're going to hear from me. And I said it very nice. I said it very professional. And when she came back with that delivery, I'm like, I'm just glad I didn't give my money to you. Like, things happen for a reason, you know? So it just let me know, because if she had received it well, then I'd have been like, cool, I'll give her another chance in the future. But because she didn't receive it well, I'm like, okay, I know for sure I'm never coming back here, because at the end of the day, as an artist, as creators, we will run behind. We're human at the end of the day. You know, it can happen, but you can also communicate to your client to let them know, hey, you know, things got off schedule today and I'm running behind, and I just wanted to let you know, and I sincerely apologize for any inconvenience that I may have caused you, and just kind of go from there. But I would advise you in the future to let them know respectfully how it did affect your schedule. You don't have to go into great detail, but what you would appreciate as a client if ever in the event that was to happen again. And if she don't receive it, so what? But you definitely know I didn't appreciate it.
And she has to know. Absolutely. And she has to know about that.
Yeah, they should know. Because I feel like in order to merge this gap and this bridge of misunderstanding between clients and professionals, we have to communicate. It should not be no thing where it's like, oh, I'm one and done and I'm out of there, because the next person is going to have the same experience and then there's going to be another TikTok created. So even though they may not let you know they received it, it actually may make them more aware of their actions, you know?
I'll consider that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So what about if I cancel my appointment and then I don't get my money back, but if they cancel, they keep my money? The math ain't mathing.
So when you cancel, are you speaking in terms of canceling because you cannot,
Either way, if I can't make it, they can't make it, they gonna keep my money. And that to me makes no sense. But if they're late or they're canceling, it's the, hey, boo, I can't make it today.
Okay, that's what I was getting around to, because it sounded like when you said what you said, like, what if I have to cancel, they keep my deposit? I understand why they keep your deposit, from that point of view. Because it's like, that's a slot that was booked and it's no longer,
I understand
but are
that,
you saying, so I'm trying to understand, are you saying, what if I cancel because they're late?
Correct.
Okay, and then they cancel if I'm late, and still there's no deposit regardless, right?
Right.
Okay, cool.
Or say I do cancel for whatever reason that doesn't involve them. Cool, keep my deposit. But if you're canceling on me for whatever reason, I deserve that deposit back.
So you've experienced a situation where you were canceled and they didn't refund you?
Nope.
So where did
They'll
you get
just
that information?
say, okay, we can reschedule. And if I say no, they just keep it anyway. But they won't offer.
They cancel?
Yes, correct.
I have never heard of that.
It's so common. I've had so many friends that have said that too. They don't get their money back. They
so
offer
what
to
if you
reschedule
say
and
I
that's
no
it.
longer want the appointment, she still don't, or he still don't give the money back?
They'll offer again, like they'll offer to reschedule, or can you come in later? Can you come in next week? But they will not give you the money back. They'll say, well, I did say on my website it was non-refundable. They'll try to pull that.
Oh, OMG.
A mess.
For myself, if I cancel on any client, no client can ever say that I have not ever given their money back. Yes, I try to reschedule first, because I also don't want the client to think I don't want to fulfill their appointment, because that's not the case. So I offer to reschedule, but also in the same sentence, if you cannot reschedule, I will honor your deposit back. Right. So when they cancel and don't give the deposit back, I don't understand that. The only thing I would recommend is possibly disputing the charge.
I'm going to bring it back though. Where you just said about, I don't mind when they try to initiate a reschedule prior to, before, bringing up the money. That's customer service. Right. You should be trying to say to me, here's what I can do for you. But if I decline because you canceled, you should say, okay, my apologies, and get that refund back.
Absolutely. That's how I work, because I'm canceling. I'm no longer able to fulfill our commitment. So it's my fault at that point. So why wouldn't I give the money back?
And I think going forward too, when I read these 360 deals that I mentioned, if you do not mention...
But wait a minute. Before we get into the 360 deals, what is a 360 deal, girl? Because I don't know what that is.
Those long policies looking like I'm signing my life away. And then again with the aggressive tone, you better not, you must do this or I'm not. Sheesh, lady. Calm it down. You know what I'm saying? You can have your list. I think it's important to have that set so you're not being asked 15 million questions or the unexpected is happening when the appointment arises. But I feel like the tone matters. Absolutely. And you having this long list and you not holding yourself to the same standard of the list that you created.
Absolutely. Which goes back to topic 2. It's like all of them are, cohesively, coming together unintentionally, so, the tone and delivery has to be set a certain way if you are wanting to, especially book new clients. Because especially today, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, our scheduling websites, your own personal websites, that's your online resume. And
the first impression.
It's the first impression. So if your tone and delivery is coming off in a very rude way before the client even meets you, there's no way they're going to move forward. It's depending on the type of client that they are.
Or if I move forward, trust and believe if your list has a certain tone, I'm going to think that's how you are. And I'm going to come with a certain like anxiety before.
Then don't book.
Right.
Then don't
Which
book.
I've learned that.
Yeah, don't book. If the aura is giving off like a terrible attitude, there's no way you should be moving forward. Because me personally, I'm not moving forward with nobody, and I can read your energy from a distance. That's a setup already right there. And I feel like clients are moving forward knowing you already know the vibe just from the online presence. And you're moving forward thinking it may be a little bit different for you because you are going to do what you're supposed to do by following the 360 deal.
And that is me.
And then you get there and the tone is still the same. So at that point, it's kind of like, whose fault is it? She showed you who she was. It's like that, fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. So the one time that you see who she is.
That's the harsh truth though, because
it is. Whose fault is it in that moment when you still move forward because you're more focused on booking the look and not booking the experience?
Not even the look. More so just booking it for somebody else to do it because I'm so drained at home that I'd rather somebody else just do it instead of me, which is my fault. A lot of times I did know their tone prior or wasn't so sure and still did it because I'm like, I don't want to do it at home. And was still mad at them when I should have been mad at me. So,
but at the end of the day,
we all can do better.
Still, I was about to say, at the end of the day, as a professional, you still should be providing. I'm not saying you shouldn't be a people pleaser. No one should be a people pleaser because I do feel like society has created customer service as a people pleasing little tactic. And it's like, no, nobody should be people pleasing. You have professional customer service and that's just what it is. So it's like, yes, you moving forward and knowing the aura did not match the aura that you would have liked. Mm-hmm. You can take some responsibility. Don't say it's my fault. Take some responsibility. Like, dang, I knew I shouldn't have moved forward with her because I saw it. I saw that we weren't a match. And I've had clients that I've recommended outside of me because I didn't provide the service that they were seeking. And I've had clients to come back and say, girl, I'm not booking her. Did you read her booking policy? She's rude. Ooh. And I refuse to go to someone who don't know how to get their point across respectfully. And they did not go. And they did not ever experience those bad experiences with that particular hairstylist. And the ones that still push forward, I have
like
to come.
Me.
Girl, they come back to me and was like, that was the worst hair appointment I've ever had in my life. These stylists are not lying to you about who they are if they have that online presence like that.
Believe them, y'all.
So,
we know it.
Don't push forward if the aura ain't given. Don't push forward.
Also, too, though, I feel, what can we do as a collective? I feel like on the stylist side or the the client side to help bridge this gap of, because not everybody's personable. Not everybody wants to.
You can still be professional and not be personable. Right.
But like, what can we do? Because I feel like it's a common thing because maybe I feel for the 360 deal or the letters, maybe they can talk to someone that knows how to write up
copywriter.
They
can
policies.
Hire a copywriter. Yes, absolutely. Hire a copywriter. But it's still not going to change the aura of who that person is either.
But do you think that sometimes maybe the way someone writes it down may not be their intent behind it? That can be a thing sometimes.
Yeah, I feel as though the stylist had a very unfortunate experience with a client, and they wrote out of emotion in that moment and published it. And they published it, and they left it the way that it was, because it becomes this thing where it's like, I mean what I say. You know?
You better listen.
And so
you better know.
It's like the energy can also be intentional, because I'm not playing because of an unfortunate experience. Because, I mean, these policies are a thing now because of the unfortunate experiences that we have experienced behind the chair.
Right.
Because once upon a time, there were no policies.
Never.
You know,
just walk in.
You just walk in, but you there all day too. So that's the reason why the policies have to be intact in order to stay on some type of schedule, because it's not as flexible as it was back then. So in order to stay on schedule, then that's where the policies come into play, so that everyone is respectful of each other's time. Now, I'm not saying everyone follow, because like we mentioned, some stylists don't hold themselves to the same standard that they put out.
And don't.
You know, but I'm just saying these policies, just speaking on the policies, they became a thing because of clients' actions.
Which we can acknowledge. I understand as clients, there are some clients that do give you a rough time. Mm-hmm. And you are a very intentional hairstylist with good energy. So it's both. It's not a one-sided thing. Yeah.
But what I will say too is I can't even count how many great experiences I've had with clients opposed to like 5. And I've done a lot of hair. And so, unfortunately, some terrible ones are going to seep into the cracks, you know.
Of course.
But you can learn from those experiences too. So, like you mentioned, like it's everyone's job to be professional. That's how you merge the gap, because society has created this thing where the customer is always right. That is not true. That is not true. Y'all have jobs where y'all service customers, and y'all know sometimes these customers be in and over their heads. So you know it's not true. You don't have to be a stylist to
understand that.
Right, yeah. Experience that. So, and that's where that people pleasing, that toxic trait that society created for customers to have this entitlement to do whatever they want to do because I'm the customer and the customer is always right. And then it gives this, like those little 5 that I had, they are embedded with that mentality and not understanding when you come from me, honey, you're going to have to be professional too, because I am professional and I do match that energy of being professional. And the only way I'm going to put up with an unprofessional client is if I'm unprofessional as well. You know?
And I do think it's a responsibility for us, both the client and the hairstylist, to be educated. Educating yourself on or doing the research of who you're going to. Mm-hmm. And for the hairstylist, just educating yourself more on how can I approach these clients? How can I better be of service, or, you know, my customer service skills, or how I conduct my business.
And that's a skill set. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't hurt to get in a customer service class if you don't have it.
Google is free.
Girl, I'm down with you.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Or I think just maybe asking, I'm sure we all have, stylists have another stylist that they know how to conduct it, or they admire. Hey, how do you do this? Yeah, a mentor. How do you do this? I feel like I have a challenge in this area. How can you help me? That kind of thing. But passing blame,
shift blame,
it's just not going to work for us. Mm-hmm. We're a community and we all need each other.
Yeah.
We do.
Like I said, like communication, consultations, and just trying to relate to the other's perspective, you know, and not try to sit in your own perspective and make your own self right as a stylist, as a client. You know, that's how you're going to merge that gap. I do feel as though just listening to the feedback, you know, we have our unprofessional experiences with clients too. We just don't have time to talk about it. You know, so I don't know if ours are higher or lower than y'all's. It'll be kind of impossible to know. But of course, y'all's experiences with us are going to be higher because it's more of y'all than it is of us. So
That too.
Yeah, so that's why it's like, oh, hairstylists are so unprofessional, blah, 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 because more of y'all are experiencing us than we are experiencing y'all. Because I could definitely create content behind my situations where I literally was about to close doors because I'm like, I'm not going to be out here doing my absolute best that I know how when it comes to not just styling your hair, but creating the experience for you when it comes to making sure that I am holding myself accountable or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to be putting myself out there for you to just kick me down. If you don't appreciate me, I'm definitely not a person that's going to stick around. I won't. I will walk away because I know my value. And that's what clients need to understand. Know your value and stop booking these stylists who give off that online presence in their social media platforms, websites, or whatever. Know your value. Walk away. If your intuition is saying, I don't know, or no because you see it, the answer is no. You feel me? You hear what I'm saying?
Right? I hear it. But I think too, before how you were mentioning hearing more of the client perspective instead of the stylist perspective, I think it's because as stylists, if you guys speak on your negative experiences, you guys will be judged for it or ridiculed. Versus us, we can just have a free platform to say whatever we want to say. So that makes it hard because I have my times too where clients come in here and disrespect me. But if I mention it, it's, oh, you're not being professional. So where is that line between that?
Exactly. And that is literally the main reason why we don't do it. Because it's like our back's up against the wall, you know? So, and it's like if you are a client and you can only see it from a client's perspective, I'm already just not right. But at the same time, that's when delivery and tone comes into play because certain clients, when they do get on these platforms and vent, I don't listen to them because I'm like, girl, you are unprofessional in your delivery and you want me to really believe that it was just a stylist problem. I think it was both of y'all at this point, you know, but you and I just watched a TikTok of a girl that had a terrible experience in DC and she was amazing.
Yeah,
and her
tone was really on point. She was direct and not disrespectful.
Exactly. And I believe her because I'm like, even in the midst of your frustration, you are able to connect to your intelligence emotionally. Like your intellect is on point with delivering out of frustration, but making sure I hear your concern more than your tone.
And stuck to the story. And not really more so her feelings.
She stuck to the story and stayed out of her feelings because at the end of the day, facts don't care about your feelings no way. So if you state the facts and leave your feelings to the side, somebody can hear you more.
Especially the stylist.
Girl. Sapphire. So hairstylists receive a lot of backlash for the prices that they charge for their services. How do you feel about I mean, I'm sure you've seen some of the backlash, like, oh, she charged too much, she too high. Like, how do you feel about that certain type of backlash when it comes to the pricing for services?
I do agree with that backlash of it being too high. But I do feel that frustration comes from those stylists that charge a certain amount of money and then have that bad aura. And then that's confirmed when those said stylists have that backlash and when they respond to said backlash, their tone and their response.
Like whenever they see a client validating your prices are too high, and then the way how they respond, it validates your prices are too high.
Too high.
Yes. Okay. And
then, for instance, for me, I feel, say you really feel like you're worth what you're putting out there, like the money, right? You would respond in a certain way and say, hey, maybe the client doesn't understand why I charge that amount of money. And you can further educate the client.
Right.
And then they can decide if they want to come or go.
Right.
But saying, you know what, y'all just broke. Y'all don't got no money. I don't care anyway. Don't go to me. How is that professional?
It's not. It's not professional. There are so many ways to educate clients on why the price is the price, but I do feel as though clients say prices are too high because maybe there's a lack in the value of the service. Because I feel as though if the value is there in the service, it may not feel so high. You know, the exchange in value, I'm paying you X amount of dollars, and in that exchange, you providing me a certain value. So,
like with you, I'm going to stop you right there. With you are someone where before I met you, I wasn't really going to anybody because of my experiences not being so good. And when I saw your price, because it had been so long for me, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of high. But then I said, I'm going to give it a chance. I need this haircut. I know that I can't do it on my own. I'm going to have to take that leap of faith. And when I met you, as you know, but I want y'all to know, it was the best experience of my life.
Thank you.
I feel like every time I've gone to Kinetra, it has been a wonderful experience. She educates me. Those scalp massages, whoo, child. And I just feel like I can come into her space on a 0 and leave on 100. And I always feel like every time I go to her, I have a more appreciation and love for my hair. And that's exactly what I've been wanting my entire life.
Goals are achieved over here because that's the goal for me. I don't want you to
So
come
to me,
in.
I'm going to pay that price every time because it's worth it and it exceeds my expectations. And that to me is why I feel like people like you can set those prices. We may say, girl, that's a lot of money, girl.
Yeah.
But we're going to be in that chair laughing with you anyway.
Yeah.
But when I'm paying my hard-earned money and you're having entitlement and attitude and you're huffing and puffing.
Yep. And that's why I say there's a lack in the service, in the value of the service, because you shouldn't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Or do you hear what I'm saying? I got to get used to saying it. And one thing about you, Sapphire, you will pay because we have exchange, because you are a content creator. You are, a hair influencer. We have exchange content, for services. I wasn't expecting to get paid. And
Y'all hear that?
And then boom, Sapphire paid me. I wasn't expecting that. So I don't want y'all to think that Sapphire is a guest on the show that's coming off like she don't want to pay, because she's paid when she was not supposed to pay.
Because I felt like I was in here all these hours, and despite us having that exchange, which meant like you do it, I get it for free kind of thing. Not for free, but the exchange part. Because you knew it was that and you still gave me exceptional service.
Absolutely.
And I came out feeling like that girl, and I always do.
Yeah.
It was nothing to me to still pay you.
I would not ever put anybody in my chair as if I'm not servicing my own head or my own kid's head. I don't care what we are doing it in exchange for. You're still going to get the same level of experience that I've always provided you, because you have an expectation of me now because I've set it for you.
The bar is high.
So if I diminish any of that and you pay me, you're not going to feel like it was worth it, And
I'm also going to add how you live in, well, not live, but your salon is an hour out from me, and I'm going to drive that hour every time.
Yeah.
Kinetra knows in between me seeing her, I'm going to do it at home or I'm going to see her.
Yeah.
Because I feel like after meeting her, she has met all of my needs, and I can't thank her enough for where I am with my hair journey because of her.
So welcome.
I wish y'all all could experience her. She is amazing. And the education aspect too. I always leave with a new tool or tip on how to do my hair, especially because you're on the internet with people that are not really educated or giving general advice.
Yeah.
It can be hard. So having someone like you in my corner, it's priceless.
Absolutely. But also, you listening helps me as well. It helps my job easier for when you do come back to see me. It's not like I'm starting over, because I've been helping you along the way. Because at the end of the day, what you do at home matters more than what I do behind that chair, because you're with your hair more than I am. So it's our job as hairstylists to always educate our clients so that they meet the hair goals. If you don't educate and you just go in there and you just do the client's hair, they won't meet the hair goals. Or is that even your concern? It should be your concern.
Then are you huffing and puffing at me? It's harder on you now, and it's harder on me at home.
The huffer puffers.
Huffer puffers. And even that too, y'all. I can go to
Mm-hmm.
Kinetra, not detangled and not feel
Absolutely.
shamed. I know we can
Absolutely.
all relate to feeling shamed by our hair being in its natural state and then being upset with us for coming like that, even though I am
Mm-hmm.
paying you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you definitely don't have to come to me detangled. You know, it
I
is an
love that
option.
about you.
It is an option, you know, but it's not like a mandatory situation where you have to like properly detangle your hair. It's on you.
With you, I get the full service, so I pay you the full price, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay paying that full price. A lot of times, they're not giving that full service, that great customer
Mm-hmm.
service from start to
Yeah.
finish, and you want great customer service money.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's true. And you know, I don't want to come off as though what works for me should work for the next stylist, but because every stylist have their policies and their services aligned in a way that's fitting for them, even sometimes outside of salon life, like personal life, you know. So I don't want to set that expectation and tone for every stylist, but definitely for me, I just wanted to feel as though when you come, you don't have to feel like you said, like you walking in feeling like a burden or a chore. I have had women that come to me not properly, quote unquote, detangled, and they have apologized or walking in removing braids
Ooh, I
because,
feel that.
yeah, and I've had that, and they
That
don't
guilt
even.
or shame.
Mm-hmm. And they walking in not knowing, like, oh, you can chill here. It's all good. You know, the only thing I would advise, like, if you don't properly detangle before you come, just give me the heads up. But Sapphire, when you come to me, I don't know what your version of tangled is because your hair is not tangled. Like, I can literally take you to the bowl and water is going to detangle your hair. But I do understand the why, but the viewers may not. So I'm going to let you go off on that part.
And the reason why I come with this anxiety or
Mhm.
perception that my hair is so tangled is from prior experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I actually spent time at home detangling this thing, and you mad at me for doing your job that I'm paying you for. And for me, sometimes at home, my hair can be a lot. My hair is very fine, but it also gets very like tangled up, matted up sometimes very easily. Like I have to do a lot. My hair doesn't, like, I can't do wash and goes and have it last all week and it be fine. It's gonna be so
Right.
much knots and stuff in my hair. So I try my best at home, and if I'm not doing my best at home, I'm coming to you because I feel like, hey, I need help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you feel as though, because some of these hairstylists, the skill set is on point, but the customer service is like,
Basura.
What is it, girl?
Basura. Trash. Trash.
Is that Jamaican?
No, Spanish.
Oh my God. I love it.
Yes. I feel that they feel because the end result is fire, you know, the lace is laid, the silk press is pressing, that they don't have to have the customer service in between. That the end result is cool. So in between, I don't got to be nice to her. But then I'm like, how do you feel when you as a hairstylist, you have your own personal customer experience?
Absolutely.
If people were rude to you in between, but the product was good, would you still buy the product?
Nope.
There we have it.
Not at all. And that's all it is. That's why it's so important to get different perspectives, because that example you gave is perfect. It's like you don't want to invest your money into someone, even though they're going to get the job done. But if it's rude during the process is longer than the end result. You feel me? So it's like, I don't want to pay you for that long drawn out process and you've been rude the whole time, even though you met the expectation of what I booked for.
Even though you know that if it was the other way around, you wouldn't do the same thing that I'm doing right now.
That's right. So what do you do from there? Are you going to continue, working with this company when they are giving you, how you say it, girl? Basura? What'd you say?
Basura. Basura.
Customer service? Like, no. Because you know the value of your hard-earned dollar, and that's why you're not going to do it.
And I want them to understand, even the end result, yes, that's what gets your money, but gratitude is currency as well.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
just saying.
Absolutely. How important it is for you to be educated behind the chair while receiving services?
Very important.
Mm-hmm.
For me, as someone that's color treated, I was not educated on how to the upkeep of it, how to take care of it,
Mm-hmm.
what differences I may see, if it's okay, if it's not okay. Luckily, I had someone like you in my corner to call on and text. If I didn't have you, my hair probably would have been broken. Because even though, yes, I'm in the chair getting a service, at home, that maintenance matters too.
It sure does, because like I said, you're with your hair more than you are, coming to the salon to get your hair done. So what you do matters just as much as what we do those few times you see us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which also I feel like ties into the pricing. If you're going to charge a certain price, education has to be included in that.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking for, at least.
Especially since this was your first time, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't this your first time receiving color treated services professionally?
No, I've got it done a few times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you educated then?
I don't feel like I was educated then, but I feel like everyone does things differently. So some were like, they'll do, okay, Sapphire, I feel like I want to see how your hair takes for the color, so we'll do it in sessions. Some will do it just in one session, That
yeah,
kind of
so it's like before diving in, before they even know the results, it's really like consulting. It's like, let's gauge it, because I don't want to color your entire head and then it don't even work out, So not necessarily educated, but it was a process. They didn't jump head in first.
Right. Or just maybe doing suggestions. Like, for instance, when I did dye my hair a few years ago, I wanted a certain look. And she told me, Sapphire, hey, I know you want that, but here's my suggestion. When you dye your hair.
Who is that? What's her name?
Shy.
Girl, wait a minute. We have to find Shy's Instagram, because
Shy.
There's no way her name is Shy Hair and Paint. That's SHAI Hair and Paint.
In Delaware, yes.
She is so bomb, fun, and eclectic. Y'all make sure y'all check her out.
Yeah, so when I went to Shy, she said to me that, okay, I know you want a certain, because I wanted that honey blonde, straight from the root kind of thing. And she was like, your hair grows at a fast rate. And sometimes when you dye directly from that root, it's going to have that straight line across.
That line of demarcation,
right.
Y'all.
And it's not going to be as cute as if I start like a little bit below the root. So she kind of talked me through the process, which I feel like helped, where I didn't really need other things. Or if I did, I felt like, okay, she told me how to do it in a way where when I went home, I wasn't so confused, if that makes sense.
Okay. So were you educated on how to take care of it?
No.
Okay. Was it a lot of upkeep for you?
The honey blonde, no, but I've got my hair dyed from her multiple times. So I think when I got the red, that was hard for me.
Why? Oh, I want to know why.
Ooh, red, man. Red just runs so easily.
It bleeds.
Then you're told, I think it's cold water to keep the color, but then cold water is not really good for your hair. So it's like so much back and forth. But what Shy did tell me, though, is she did warn me that it was going to, run really easily, but I still want to do what I wanted to do. So that's not on her. But she did say to me, hey, like,
as long as she told you, though.
Yeah, she gave me the facts. You know what I'm saying? She gave me the facts of, hey, if you get this color now, you're going to have to be coming here a lot. So
it's a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, for me, what I did was I was like, you know what? In between, I'm going to get a little, I think it was the permanent hot pink dye.
Okay.
To kind of give my hair the redness back. And Shy said to me, even though you may think it's like a semi-permanent dye, it still causes some kind of color bleeding.
So was it semi-permanent or permanent?
I think it was permanent, but she was just saying those rinses, all those things,
they rinse right out.
Don't think that it rinses out completely. It leaves particles on your hair still, so which can also affect the integrity of your hair.
Okay.
Which I didn't know. I'm thinking, rinse is gonna rinse out. I'm good. I can put any rinse. She's like, no, it still affects the integrity of your hair.
It's not as detrimental.
Right.
Yeah.
And also telling me too, I think when I was done with color, I said I'm gonna dye it jet black. She warned me not to do it jet black, and I did it anyway.
Absolutely not. Especially
I did it anyway.
If you wanna. Girl, so you colored it jet black, or did she color it jet black?
I did.
What happened?
Actually, it wasn't that bad.
Did Did it turn green?
No.
Okay,
It was
good.
jet. I was loving it. Jet black.
But what happened? Did you try to color it again?
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
Shy know what she talking about now.
Yeah.
Because like 5 months later, after that jet black wasn't jet blacking anymore, I was like, you know what? I want color again. And I'm like, damn it. I'm going to have to wait till this jet black kind of falls
Grow
off.
out. Uh-huh.
So it took me years and years for my hair to be back to its fully natural state to get color again, which I have now.
Okay. So the color that you have now, how did the booking process go? Like, was there a consultation involved at all?
Yeah. So she texted me and asked me to send pictures of my hair. She asked me about, I would say, 5 or so questions to let, I guess, for her understanding on what, if she can or can't do the service, answered her questions. And then typically she said, yeah, I can do it. And we did it.
Yeah, because your hair was virgin. So, you know, pictures, especially if she can see the integrity, like it's in good health and shape, you can still move forward, especially if you specialize in color too. And you don't have your hands in different types of services. You know, some stylists are confident with moving forward and some still be like, I need to see your hair, you know?
She did a good job because I feel like for me too, I asked her for a reddish orange hair and she just executed that.
Yeah.
It surprised me. I'm like, wow, like I knew what I wanted, but she gave me like more than that.
Especially with that being the first time, because sometimes some clients have to come back because they, unfortunately, depending on your hair, it may not lift to that level in order to get you the results that you want.
So the first session we had together, I went from virgin to, I had like a honey blonde skunk stripe. Yeah. And the rest was like a orangey reddish. A reddish orange.
And it was bomb.
Yeah,
it was bomb. So that's also like another great hair experience that you had, you know, arriving to the look that you wanted to achieve every time. A service.
And I like how too, even though I have like red in my hair, it's a thing where I feel like I really get my money's worth because once the red kind of fades, the ginger pops out.
It sure does.
I don't really have to get a touch up on the roots all the, like, you know, as, you know, monthly or like every 3 months, I can drag it out because I still have that ginger look or then, you know, the reddish in the beginning. So I like that.
Were you informed that the color would be high maintenance?
No.
Okay.
But she did say to me when I went to her again, I'm so surprised that you've done so well with your upkeep. And I'm like, me too, because I ain't do nothing. I'm a very like low manipulation girl.
And that helps to be low maintenance whenever you are. If you are color treated, it's a high maintenance service.
Very.
But you need to be low maintenance taking care of it.
And also too, I think I stopped compared to like when I first got my hair colored by Shy compared to now. I think for me, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to want these vibrant colors, I'm going to have to be okay with it fading after a couple washes and not be so fixated on like it looking perfect and fresh out the salon. How, you know, I can't be fixated on that. The health of my hair is most important. That color can wait.
Especially with the colors that you like. You like the reds and they do bleed.
And the blonde,
you know?
Which can be damaging if you do too much of it.
Right. And that's why I say you've been a low maintenance person when it comes to, and let me correct myself because I don't want to mislead the audience when I said low maintenance taking care of it. What I meant was she's a low maintenance client when it comes to styling her hair at home, because the more you manipulate your hair, the more prone to breaking it is. And when you have compromised the integrity of it by, you know, receiving color services, it is more fragile. So you do want to kind of scale back on styling and manipulating it, you know, consistently throughout the week. Give your hair a break. Give it some time. Change the hair products that you are using and be more open to using color treated products.
That's a big one. I did not know that either. I was still at home using my natural products. And see, it wasn't until you made a video about it on TikTok that I love how you broke it down. That, yes, my hair is, I don't have a weave or braids. It's still like my
curly
natural hair, but it's not in a natural state anymore. So I'm not considered really a natural. I'm a color treated girl now.
Yeah.
So that can be a lot for people to take in.
It sure is, because I sure did receive some backlash for saying that, but I'm not on nobody's platform to make them feel comfortable. I'm just, like we said way back, it's facts over feelings. Remove the emotions and hear the facts, and then you can reach your hair goals. Because if you are color treated, you are not natural, but you are still a curly
girl,
and it's nothing wrong with that. But we all know natural and organic is in its natural and organic state.
And those labels matter because when you're asking certain questions to stylists or to people on Instagram, hey, how do you do this? The integrity of your hair matters when it comes to like what products you should use.
Absolutely.
Should you wash every 3 days or weekly? Like,
and that girl may tell you, yeah, you can, not knowing that you're color treated. And she'll be like, oh, wait a minute, you're color treated. You definitely do not, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Because I don't, for me, when I'm asked questions on, hey, what do you do? I answer according to that. I'm not thinking about how your hair could possibly be. I'm just telling you what I do for my hair.
Yes.
So it's important to keep in mind how your hair is, or ask in a way of hair. Here, this is how my hair is. What do you suggest?
Absolutely. Consultation.
It's not the like one fits all kind of thing.
It's not.
And even though you may feel, and I love if you feel like, hey, my hair looks like hers, it doesn't mean it's the same.
Absolutely.
To the eye it may be, but in real life it's not.
It's never the same. I don't care what nobody say. I done a lot of hair and I ain't never done the same hair. You ain't have the same hair on your one head, so it's impossible.
It's so much. I feel like I have more than one texture. Then it's color treated. Then my hair appears. People don't really understand the density versus thick thing. Like my hair strands are thin, but I have a lot of hair strands, so it's dense.
Yes.
So my hair appears a certain way, but it's really not a certain way.
Exactly.
And then I feel like too, what has them in a chokehold is this curl chart, pattern chart.
Oh my gosh, gotta get rid of that.
Don't ask me what my pattern is because I don't know.
You just need to throw the curl pattern chart away anyways. And we're going to talk about that one day in another podcast for sure, because that's a podcast
in itself.
Because the psychology that's wrapped around that curl pattern chart, it can't just...
And who made it? Problematic.
Girl.
Well, we're going to get into that another time.
Before we brought up the curl pattern chart, we was talking about, content when it comes to hair and asking questions whenever, on social media, looking for hair advice and hair inspiration. We was talking about content. When it comes to content, how do you feel, Sapphire, when a stylist, because this was something I actually wanted to talk about and we didn't bring it up. How do you feel about, because your hair is like content hair.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is. I mean, I have girls that come to my salon asking about you.
Aww.
So
I love you guys.
So your hair, not only, you are promoting your hair as hair content, but I think even if you were not, you would still be unintentional hair content. So
I agree.
So how do you feel about hairstylists using your hair content without your permission, or you have to, if you come sit in my chair, I have to use your hair as content? Like that, like you don't have a say so in that situation. How do you feel about that?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes I feel like the hairstylists believe because this client is in my chair, I'm entitled to using them for content.
Okay.
Which is not true.
Okay.
We as clients have the right to say no.
Absolutely.
And I think even if she doesn't say no, I think it's appropriate to ask first.
Absolutely.
Because she is in your content, and that is her. She's entitled to you using her face and her hair.
What if they didn't use the face and they just used the hair only?
Still, I paid for this service. It wasn't an exchange where you do my hair for content and you can do whatever you want with it. You're still using a part of me, which to me makes me feel like it's my content as well, and you need my permission.
Okay. Do you think you feel that way because you are a hair content creator?
Yes. I think because I am one, I understand how far using someone's content can bring that stylist. Also having people like, oh, she did her hair, I'm gonna go to her. So I'm also bringing in you money.
Absolutely.
So I'm paying for this service. You're using my content, not asking me, and I'm making you money. And you feel that's okay?
How would you prefer a stylist to go about sharing content on social media when it comes to promoting their services, because if they don't have content, then y'all can't find them.
That is true. So I do feel for some people, or no, not even just some, let's just be straight across the board. I think you should be asking every client for permission to use their content, whether their face is in it or not. Because I've seen some times where clients, stylists, was talking negatively about their client because she didn't come there with makeup on, and it ruined her content. Things like that it's off to me. What? So again, you should be warning your clients like, hey, I will be using US content, or can I use US content? And if they say no, they're entitled to that. Absolutely. Especially because they're paying.
Absolutely. I know before I had created my salon waivers where it's like one bullet point where it says, you know, I use images of you to promote for marketing reasons, whatever the case may be. If you agree to it, you can sign it and we'll move forward. But they have the option to say no. I actually had one client to not sign it, and she didn't come to me, which was okay for me. And that's how you find your fit, your compatibility right there. Because
Absolutely.
If you're not okay with me using your hair or your face as content, then that salon waiver is your way of advocating for yourself before you even waste any time with me of saying like, no, I don't want to. And I didn't argue back with her. I didn't even come back and say, well, I won't use your face. It's just your hair. Because at the end of the day, it's still your hair. I just said, I appreciate you, for, contacting me and letting me know. And I respect, your decision. Now, I have had a client to reach out and say, I don't mind you using my hair, but I don't want my face advertised. Boom. That's too easy. And honestly, I just didn't use her as content at all, because I'm like, to some extent, you're not comfortable.
For me as a content creator, I love content down. But to be honest, there's some days where I only found the energy to come to you to do my hair. I'm not in the picture taking mood. Doesn't mean that next time I won't do it. Just that particular day, I just know I won't be in the mood or like have that certain look that I want to appear on social media. So yes, you can do my hair, but my face, just please leave it out. I'm not in the mood today.
Yeah, but just out of respect and just for her even extending, like, I still want to come see you, but can I just not show my face if you decide to use me for content? For me, I was just like, I just won't use her for content at all, because I just love the fact that you still want me to grace you in some kind of way.
Okay,
so
that
it's
makes
just,
sense.
So it's just like, if you go all out of your way to read a salon waiver and that's the one thing that stick out, to some degree, you don't care to be promoted at all, whether it's for hair or in your face. That's a valid point. Yeah. So it's just like, I won't even create the content. It's okay, But I know for some situations, I may want to create the content, and let's just go ahead and get that out of the way by presenting the salon waiver, and you can decide right then and there instead of making you uncomfortable, because there are some situations where clients have agreed because the stylist acts in their face and they're afraid to say no in that moment.
Speak on it.
So that's why I create the salon waiver, so there won't be no uncomfortable exchange of energy, because you don't want to say no, because then she's going to think, based on what y'all are exposed to on social media, I don't want that uncomfortable experience for the client. So it's like, that's how you merge the gap, by trying to place yourself in a client's shoes as well. And that's how I do it. Like I said, like the girl that decided not to move forward, that doesn't mean possibly she wasn't a great client, but she wasn't a fit, because in order to move forward, this what needs to be in place.
And two, as a content creator and as a person, the hairstylist, as them being a business person as well, you should understand that, hey, if you know a content creator is in your chair, you should approach it a certain way. I'm not expecting no special treatment.
Did she know you was a content creator?
Not sure. But mostly I feel like, 'cause sometimes I do reach out via social media before I go to your service. I mean, get my service by you.
Yes.
Like for you, I think I did DM you before I got it done. So I do message you before, whether it's a question or just hey, I booked my appointment, just confirming. And I do it purposely so you can see what I look like.
Who you are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you're, as a business person and a content creator, this person can bring me in money. Should there be some kind of conversation, do you think? Once a stylist does see that, hey, I have a content creator in my chair.
If you're reaching out for services, I don't think so. Because I didn't go searching for you. Like, you are inquiring about a service, so I don't know why I would compensate in a situation like that. Unless I acknowledge, like, the fact that you are a content creator and I want to do something completely different from what you're booking, then I would be open to that being a situation. But if you're reaching out for services, it's going to be treated like a salon service for me.
So see that for you, but I'm saying sometimes with stylists, sometimes they know you're a content creator or they don't. But say, for example, you didn't know I was a content creator. And then I post your work, I tag you, because when the service is good, I tag you.
Right.
I show love.
You over tag, honey.
Okay, I tag.
You tag for multiple days.
So say I don't tag, but you see your work on my social media, and people are asking me, oh, who did your hair? Who did your hair? And I'm not responding. And you mad at me for not responding to them, or I'm telling you, take down my content off your page. Do you have the right to be upset?
That happens to me all the time because I'm in the wedding industry, and unfortunately in Austin, they don't have vendor etiquette. So they never tagging over here. Okay. So in the beginning, yes, I used to get very angry about that because that's how clients find you, from, you tagging. I've tagged my clients and they ain't social media, content creators. If I've noticed that you have a social media platform, I'm going to always tag you. And some of them have private pages, but I just want them to know that I'm acknowledging you. And
that's how it should be, Kinetra.
Yeah, I'm just
like it's not done. It's a lot of entitlement. Like, yeah, I did your hair. You should be tagging me as well.
Yeah, I tag, my client. If I've noticed that, because sometimes what I'll do too is I'll just type in the first name and I'll see like, oh, she do got a social media. I'll tag her, just so she can enjoy the content herself too. If you want to share your experience behind the chair with your family and friends, you have video content, because I have had like clients to say, make sure you do tag me because I want to show my mom, or whatever the case may be. But I have shared or tagged and they didn't ask. I'm just like, I would want to see my content if you created something on me. So I just try to always put myself in a client's shoes so that I am merging this gap of misunderstanding. Like, how would they feel if I didn't tag? Or if you don't have a tag or Instagram handling, I'll say your first name, not your government name, but your first name, just so you know, like, I appreciate you for allowing me to share to my audience what we did for you today.
Right.
I know a lot of stylists don't do it, and it does feel one-sided, especially with you being a content creator. That would feel just on a whole nother level one-sided, because your hair is unintentional social media content. And for you to be marketing yourself as a social media content, influencer, you should be tagged at all times. And for me, when the style come out just immaculate, girl, I gotta tag you in this. Like, what's your social media? That's just natural for me. There's no way I could create a color like what you have and not be like, and if I didn't know you was a social media content creator, and I'd be like, girl, I'm gonna tag you in this video because I know it's gonna be lit. You know what I'm saying?
Views. So,
like, I agree with your perspective and how you feel about using you as promotion, especially not at least being tagged, because that also, with you being a social media influencer, that can also be compensation in a way, since you reached out to them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So the least you can do is tag.
And even like, for instance, outside the stylist, there's a lot of like natural hair pages, like weave pages that have used my content so many times,
yes,
and have not tagged me.
I know.
And I'm like, the views that you're all getting.
Remove it?
No, I said, hey, that's me. And typically sometimes they'll add me, but sometimes I will see it so late that it has already gotten the views and no one knows that it's me. And so to me, that's important because I do content.
Absolutely. You should reach out to them and ask them to remove it or repost it. Letting them know who it is in the video.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah,
but to me, it's like,
say remove it and repost it, or remove it entirely because you did not give me my creds. Yeah.
And then they're using my hair for weave promotion. I don't got no weave in my hair.
Weave promotion.
Yes, so misleading people like, oh, this blonde red ginger extension.
Oh my. So do you ever go up on the caption and say, hey, that's me in the content? Bundles where? I don't have any bundles, honey. That is homegrown.
So typically, most of the time, people are tagging me in these videos. I don't find it on my own.
Okay.
And they're like, wait, that ain't no weave or bundles. They're like, Sapphire, this is you, child. Look at this madness.
Wow.
And then I'll comment. And then they'll tag me sometimes, or they'll remove the post. But things like that is why I feel like that conversation between stylists and customers of the stylist feeling entitled to posting you without your permission.
So these are these stylists or weave companies?
Stylists and weave companies.
Okay. So stylists have promoted your hair and they didn't do your hair.
Correct.
That is
It's
crazy.
a thing on social media. That's why it's really important for me too. One thing I do, now that we're talking about this, is when I go to a stylist's page that I'm trying to go to, I go to their tag videos and I look for the ones. It doesn't have to be content creator clients, but people that I'm like, okay, is this a real person that they went to? Because typically if the experience was good, somebody will tag you. So I will go on that client's page and say, okay, cool, confirm that was their work. Sometimes they be lying about work that's not theirs.
Yeah, I know they do that, but to actually talk to someone that has had that experience, OMG, the integrity is lacking too in the beauty industry.
But I just see that conversation so much where stylists are so upset when you do not tag them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like as a client, I'm telling these hairstylists, if they paid, even if they didn't, but typically, if they paid, they have the right to say no. Just because that is your work, that is still their hair, still their face. Mm-hmm. You're not entitled to their promotion.
You know someone where they said no and the stylist still posted the content?
Yes.
And what did
they had to sue or get people to like report it or tag them. Yeah, it's a thing on social media.
That is
it's
wild.
A thing.
And they don't present salon waivers to these clients or have them sign, anything so that they know what to expect at the appointment.
No. Hence why so many women have talked about they have went to the appointment not knowing that they'll be recorded, and they came in their like bleached up t-shirt or
because they're not presented a certain because
and they didn't know. And then now you're mad at me talking about I should have came a certain way, or it's I did your hair, why can I post, or you guilt tripping me in the chair making me feel bad because I'm saying like, come on girl, just do it. If I said no means no, don't ask again.
Yeah, that's not good. If a client say, we learned no means no when we were kids, honey. Like if the answer is no, don't push it. The answer is no. You have an opportunity to create content for the rest of the week because you have clients booked. It doesn't have to be necessarily this client, or become a little more creative with your content. But this one client is not going to be the deal breaker in you creating new clientele for yourself. So that's wild for you to push and the client say no. No means no. Respect boundaries. Boundaries is a thing for both the professional and for the client. Boundaries need to be intact in order to merge this gap of misunderstanding between the professional's perspective and the client's perspective. If you don't have certain policies or copywriting in place so that this client know what to expect before they book an appointment, at that point, you definitely should not be pushing someone to, if they don't want their face on social media, you have to respect that.
Or if you feel like your content, you're new, or you feel you are someone that's a hairstylist / content creator as well, because that's a thing. You should be having on your site like you do. Yeah. Hey, I will be taking pictures of you. Please allow me your consent, or you can say no or yes, but you need to inform people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's very important, especially if that is your end goal every session that you have with these clients.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So as we begin to wrap up this week's episode with Sapphire, what are some key takeaways you can advise our listeners if they are, of someone who has had these same and similar experiences that you have had with professionals in the beauty industry?
A few things I make sure of is that who I'm going to specializes in what I want, not someone that does everything. I feel like that can make them kind of go away from what you want or expect. So when I go to someone that specializes in the curls or maybe in color, that way that's their niche, and I can trust them that they can execute that particular service.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I do my research. That means like I go to their Instagram, any platforms that they're using to promote their business, I check it out. People that they're tagging, the customer's experience, I see it all. And I also wait a little bit after I find them as well to see if anything comes up in between them. And then with that, if everything is good, then I typically book the appointment. Or two, when I'm reading that list, when I read that list of policies, I make sure that they're stating what they expect of me and what I can expect of them. So that way I'm not having to ask too many questions or have any surprises when I get there, and everything is communicated well.
I love that. That was some great solicited advice for clients. So there you have it. The culmination of today's eye-opening episode of Hear What I'm Saying. We've journeyed through the experiences of Sapphire, delving into the intricate tapestry of unprofessional hairstylists and the challenges faced by those who encounter them. Sapphire, your presence on the show has been an absolute privilege. Your candor and resilience have provided us with a profound understanding of the issues at hand. Can you please tell our listeners how to stay connected with you?
Thank you so much for having me, having a platform where I feel seen and can voice my experiences. I appreciate you for that. Where you guys can find me is on Instagram and TikTok. My name is the same, Bluefiyah, BLEUFIYAH. I do hair content, funny videos. You can DM me, message me, share your experiences with me while I share mine. So thank you again.
I want to thank you for joining us on this journey to understand and address this pressing issue in the salon industry. We hope that by shedding light on the challenges of rudeness, we've not only given you a platform to share your experiences, but also provided valuable insights and strategies for both clients and stylists. Remember, change begins with awareness and dialogue, and we're here to foster understanding, empathy, and respect between all parties involved. If you found our discussions helpful, please subscribe, rate, and review Hear What I'm Saying on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback and support means the world to us. Until next time, schedule those consultations, complete a thorough online research for your perfect hairstylist, and remember, a little kindness goes a long way in achieving hair harmony. You hear what I'm saying? Thank you for being a part of our community. First and foremost, a huge shout out to our outstanding podcast manager, Sophie. Sophie, you have been an absolute rock star behind the scenes, ensuring every episode runs smoothly and flawlessly. Your dedication, creativity, and attention to detail have elevated this podcast to new heights. To our listeners, if you'd like to connect with Sophie and discover more about her virtual services, you can find her on Instagram at Sophie Virtual Services. Give her a follow, and trust me, you won't be disappointed. Next, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the talented musician who has provided the incredible music that accompanies our podcast, Doo-Wop. Doo-Wop's musical compositions have added depth and atmosphere to our show, making each episode an immersive experience. If you're as captivated by Doo-Wop's work as I am, be sure to check him out on YouTube and Instagram. Give him a follow at Doo-Wop _2.0. His beats and melodies are truly something special.